Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. This is the first Featured Fem Friday. I am super excited to be given the opportunity to come and show up live here on Karena's Facebook page. She's allowed me to take over a little bit for the afternoon, so I'm super excited about that. I wanted to share part of my journey with those who are interested. I think that's one of the biggest questions that I often find comes up when I talk about what I do and the things that I offer is just, how did you start? Where did you get there? Other big questions that seem to come up is all about intuition, how to tap in, how to trust, and how to know. And so I have spent the better part of my journey really tapping in and getting into those places within myself. So I think I'm coming on to 4 years of this journey of healing, awareness, trusting, going from a place of hope to a place of faith. And so I really try to show up and share that with people who are also in their journey. Hi, Ayla. Welcome. So glad you could be here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, and I want this to be very much an interactive process. So if you are at a stage in your journey and you have a question or something's happening and something's coming up, please put it out there, and hopefully I can provide some insight and guidance. So I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with the thought of changing your life or the thought of stepping into a very real truth for you as being fearful, as being anxious, something that would, keep you up at night or give you that shortness of breath. And that's very much where my journey started, very much in a place of anxiety, numbing fear, and just so much worry and heartache. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to handle these emotions. And so little by little, I think the biggest thing for me was just I knew I couldn't continue. I couldn't continue in the place that I was. So that was the first very clear message that Spirit sent me, was manifestation of things in my body as well as around me, and just that clear message of, you can't keep going like this. And I've always been a spiritual connected person. I've always had a very keen sense of intuition, and I've always had a sense of energy around me. I could tell people's emotions before I even met them or knew who they were. So a lot of this stuff is already happening for me, around me, throughout my life. And when I call it my second wake up, but when I had my second wake up, a lot of things were happening, and there was that push of, you cannot be in this place anymore. And I had to make a big career change. I had to make some big lifestyle changes, and I had no idea how to do it. I had no idea how to take my spirituality, how to take my psychic abilities and work with it, understand it, put it out there. And I started little by little, basically. I started to learn how to quiet my mind. So that was kind of step one for me, was just to learn how to bring myself into that neutral phase. And I knew that I needed a lot of self self-care. I had been neglecting myself for so long that if I didn't start loving me and taking care of me, things were going to go south very quickly. So I'm sure, like I said, some people can resonate with this. So that was kind of, step one. You can't really make a huge life change. You can't really honestly and confidently step into, a new career path, a new way of living, a new behavior, or anything until you kind of fix this first. And it became sort of a trifecta. I knew I needed to manage the body and nourish myself from a physical human perspective. I knew I needed to manage myself from a mind perspective. And then, of course, nourishing the spirituality. So, what did I believe in? What were my beliefs and values? And I knew there was something more than me. I knew that I believed in that greater power. And I kept hearing about, manifestation, laws of attraction. And I thought, well, could I also do this? Could I be that person that manifests things in their lives? So for the most part, when you're kind of in that really dark place of sickness, you don't believe that for yourself. You don't believe that's possible. So that's why I say, it kind of, when you think about going on that diet, people say start with food first. So you start with the food, and once you get that routine down, then you start to bring in your exercise routine. So it's very similar for me to really kind of exercise my abilities and step outside of what I thought I was supposed to be or who I was told I was. I had to start with nourishment, a lot of self-care, a lot of love, a lot of gentle reminders and conversations. And of course, naturally, Spirit says, okay, we're on the right track. And they leave you breadcrumbs. So I see it now, all the little breadcrumbs that were left for me. But if you're in this place right now, look for those little breadcrumbs, because those are the loving stepping stones that Spirit is leaving for you to say, okay, we're going to help you on this journey. Read this book, talk to this person, watch this, listen to this, go to that yoga class, do the meditations. And so when you start following those breadcrumbs, you start nourishing your mind, and your spiritual faith starts to shift. So it really started there for me. And I want to say that took close to, anywhere between 4 and 6 months. So it really is a journey. It's not overnight. And I will be the first to say that, anyone that shows up and tells you otherwise, I'd be careful to really believe it, because it really does take some time, and you have to give yourself that permission. Now, it doesn't mean that while you're taking the time to love yourself and being tender, that you can't explore possibilities. And so that was kind of like step 2, is allowing myself to be curious. So I had spent the better part of my life being told that in order to be successful and to be perceived in society as someone with value and prestige, I had to work my way up some corporate ladder, making, 6 figures, being a director, whatever, like having all these fancy titles. And this is what I was programmed to strive for, programmed to live and breathe. And when I had my breakdown, it was like, this is not me. This does not feel good. This is actually making me more sick. And when I started to gently bring myself back to that place of calm, I also allowed myself to be curious. Well, what else can I do? I loved working with people. I loved animals. I felt like I had a way of delivering information that was very receptive. I could gently lead people and guide them. And so it became clear that that was definitely a path that I needed to explore a lot more. What can I do? And allowing yourself to be curious, allowing yourself to be open, really changes things. It really shifts things. And again, because you're attracting this vibration and this energy, this is kind of how the laws of attraction work, where then you become a magnet for like-minded people to come to you and say, hey, let's chat, or I have this thing, this workshop, why don't you come and try it out? So I had a lot of that going on really in my first year. It was just kind of like casting a huge net to just allow myself the permission to try things, to show up, rearrange, home life balance so that I could step back into who Delia was. And really early on, I mean, my path really brought me towards understanding energy, understanding spiritual connection, understanding my empathic abilities. And so I very much did go down the route of I wanted to be a spiritual guide. I wanted to be a someone who could support others through psychic medium work, someone who could host healing circles and gatherings and retreats. And so this was very much something that I was drawn to. And I didn't always believe that I could step into that space. I didn't think that, it would be accepted. And I had to realize that these were all limiting beliefs that I was putting on myself, that these were things that only I was saying, and that I was pretty much putting up a block before I even allowed myself to do anything. So I think, for me, it came down to I have to try it. Taking that bit of that first step into a place of unknowing or fear, just to see, is this for me? And I slowly started stepping away from my other career. And again, when you are putting your intention in this space, and when you are taking those actionable, those conscious actions, because I believe that laws of attraction, you can say I want $1 million and write it down as much as you want, but if you're not going to take that first step towards it, it can't come to you. So for me, it was all about taking those first few steps. And I started to step back from that career and step into this new path. And I took a couple steps here, then there, and up and down, and some of it was chaotic and some of it was all over and it didn't feel focused, but that's okay. It's almost meant to look that way, meant to be a little bit muddy, so that you allow yourself that permission to grow and to feel into different things. And so I was able to find myself opportunities where I could still work and make a decent living, because it was my transition place, and then also be able to sit down with mentors and take workshops and try to do different things. Very early on, I jumped into a series of salt cave events, which were scary as hell. The thought of sitting down with strangers and doing their tarot cards scared the bejesus out of me, because it's one of those things where you just don't believe that I can do this for someone else, or you're going to get called out as a fake, or you're not going to be able to intuit, even though it's happening. You're just afraid that once on the spot, it's just going to blow up in your face. Needless to say, my first event, people were like, oh my God, you're so bang on. This is amazing. I've had people to this day come back to me saying, do you remember what you said to me in that salt cave? And I was like, no. But it resonated, and it proved to me that, if I just trust and I just allow myself the opportunity, I'll either find out that it was going to be a great success and it's for me, or you find out that not for you, didn't feel comfortable, and hey, that's okay. It's okay to come out of those experiences and either have a misstep or have, those not good feelings. It's okay, because what that's doing is it's teaching you that that's not for you. That door is not for you. Let's try a new one. And it really is just about trying those different paths and trying those different doors until you really feel into one and it feels really good. Just going to take a sip. Does anybody have questions or experiencing anything right now that they want to chat about? I'll just put that out there. But yeah, my journey really became that, and when you allow yourself to work through that first place of fear, you start to get more brave and you start to get more confident that you can keep trying. And the other thing that it allowed me to do was, and this is that question that people ask me all the time, is, how do I become more intuitive? And it's like, you're already intuitive, you're just not listening. So what it allowed me to do when I was trusting and trying these things was, it really allowed me to tune into my spirit connection and my wisdom much more clearly than ever before. And I could have conversations and get insight and information before things would happen or as things were happening. And as I was listening and trusting, I could see my path unfolding, and I could see it was almost like, I was stepping into that place of gentleness and that foundation of trust. So I was building trust with my own body's wisdom, as well as my own tribe of guides that I had with me. And so as that trust started to build, I no longer questioned some of these things. If I felt I was being pushed in a certain direction, I no longer questioned it. I was like, okay, this is what you want me to do. We'll give it a go. See how I'm not going to fight you guys anymore. And, by and by, here I am today, building this beautiful community, working with amazing women, doing incredible things that, when I look back where I started, if someone said, you know what, Delia, you're gonna, by 2019, you will have hosted, gosh, how many, I want to say I've done about at least 10 moon ceremonies with people. That might be live, not including online. I've hosted 2 retreats. I've hosted numerous healing circles and gatherings. I've mentored, gosh, dozens of people through their own journey. I'm even sitting here going, wow, did I really truly do all these things? And it little by little, I showed up in this place, and it's that proof, it's that confidence, and knowing that this was the path that I was meant to be on. And because I allowed myself to trust, because I allowed myself the ability to be curious and permission to do these things, that I was able to kind of grow and evolve. And that's the best part of this, is that, I started out in Reiki, and my first Reiki session that I had on myself, it was the most profound experience ever. And I knew from that day that I was meant to be a healer. And I knew that I wanted to go and get my Reiki practitioners. I'm now a Reiki master. I've done my Aqua Lead, which is another modality. So I'm an Aqua Lead master. And I really kind of felt that was my path. I was going to go into Reiki. It was going to be the gift that I offered, the healing. And my path kind of brought me there, but I think it brought me there because I needed it. I needed it to understand my faith better. I needed it to understand how energy around me worked much better. I needed it so that I could understand how to raise my vibration. But now sitting here today, it's like, yeah, I can offer Reiki, and it's a tool in my belt that I can bring out whenever I want, but it's no longer my primary focus, and that's okay. It had to be there. It had to be there to guide me, and it was a necessary tool that I needed to learn. So, it's okay to kind of allow your path to weave in and out and go, have it go where you need it to go. Trying to think of some other examples. But yeah, and so last year my journey took a very big shift. And I kind of knew it was happening. I kind of felt it very, very early on. But again, I was very hesitant. But I started stepping more into journey work, deeper healing, connecting in with the earth, connecting in with different vibrations, very, very shamanic. And I fully stepped in and started to mentor under a medicine woman, an indigenous medicine woman. And it's when I started doing this that not only did that healer self within me, but that intuitive self as well. And that, the goddess of the earth and the moon and all of those other energies came together, and it felt really good. And it was like, haha, this is my space. This is where I need to be. This is my focus. And I realized on that journey that I had a way of connection. For whatever reason, it's almost like Spirit said that you are going to be the connection between this and this. Mine might never fully, well, I shouldn't say never. I may or may not rise as an individual and a prominent, figure in this space. But where that magic happens is the connection. So think of like an alchemist, turning metal into gold. So people might turn into gold through this connection in this process. But where I end up in that process, or, not that I'm looking for the fame and notoriety, but whether people will acknowledge that or not, it's kind of a moot point. It's really not the purpose. The purpose is that change. Ayla says, I'm reverse. Now I feel Reiki is my primary focus, where before I just did readings. Well, there you go, right? So for whatever reason, Spirit is guiding you. And it's almost like a remembering. That's what I feel it is. It's like the more we do, the more we step into and tap into and allow these abilities to come forward, we're remembering. We're remembering why we came here. We're remembering things from our past lives. We're remembering it. And it's almost like a reawakening. So for me, I know in a past life, I was a medicine woman in a village, a very powerful, prominent medicine woman that brought healing. Oh gosh, I had the word on the tip of my tongue, but would basically help people heal different ailments, come back to life, reach different vibrations and whatnot. But so for me, it's like that remembering. I also have, herbalism kind of coming through in this witchy side as well. So it's really all these things are coming in, and how can I use it and how can I bring it forward in my work. But yeah, I really kind of got to this place of, yeah, this is my focus. I need to gather people in circle. I need to help them connect, connection in with their energy centers themselves and how they are connected out into this world. And then through that process, turn them into gold. So that is, one of my big focuses coming into 2019 is putting myself into the space of, medicine woman, spiritual guide, helping people to connect, finding ways to do that. And I'm stepping away from, tarot card readings and Reiki sessions and all these other things that I used to do, en masse, because that's what I felt I was being called to do and wanted to do. But really kind of focusing in on, no, we got to go in this direction. And this is where I'm going to focus and put my energy. And so again, it's really great when you get there, and it's okay to cast your net, and it's okay to try a whole bunch of things, because at the end of the day, it's intention. If you're showing up for the highest good, for those that you're serving, it can't be bad. And so you might notice that your journey takes a shift. You might notice that, hey, I'm going to stay on this journey like Ayla. You might go into Reiki, and Reiki has many layers. And so you might just start building on those different layers. And so what your Reiki practice looks like today will look completely different 6 months from now. So, and you will definitely, like with Reiki, it's such a high vibrational energy and such a healing energy that you're going to see other things coming into play. You're potentially, you might find that you're tapping into other lives. You might be connecting in with other guides. You might have so many other messages and roles that start to evolve out of this journey. And then you might decide, like, okay, I am a Reiki practitioner, but my focus is going to be maybe in medical. Maybe you can see these things more clearly than anybody else. And that then becomes kind of your focus, your niche, your expertise, where you're going to put your energy to allow these things to expand and grow. So it's very, very much a journey. And when you tap into your own body, and I talk a lot about this because it was just a big aha moment for me, that my body, and very early on too, spirit in the universe was not going to allow me to have things easy. They really wanted me to feel into this for myself. I asked for mentors, I asked for teachers, I asked for all kinds of help, and it was like, no, you're going on this journey, you're going to trust yourself, you're going to get your own messages, like, don't listen to anybody else. And it really forced me to do that. And when I had my aha moment, like, holy crap, there's the right brain, woo-woo stuff, but neurologically and human physically, my body's been set up to tap into things, to give me messages, to let me know that I'm safe or not, or, trust this, go there, do all these things. Why am I not using it? And so as I started to evolve in my journey, I just allowed myself to listen and trust to that a lot more. I allowed myself to tune in. And when I say tune in, it's however format it's going to come up for you. Spirit might send you messages through songs, through visuals, through having a conversation. You might have a conversation with someone and walk away and go, holy crap, I really needed to hear that. And it was like an unprompted conversation, but you got a healing message out of it. And those are the things, when they happen, I right away try to acknowledge it. Okay, I'm listening, I hear you, I see that, I get it. And then I take inspired or deliberate action. And when I do that next step of taking what I heard and trusting it and putting it into action, that's when I draw that energy into me. That's when I manifest things into my life. That's when everything I've been asking for help with seems to happen. It's when I kind of stay in a place of being stuck, not having faith, not trusting, not listening to the voices, or allowing myself to kind of go into that space of fear, it's when that happens that Spirit's like, she's shut down, guys. That's it. Move along. We can't help her. So then you're just sitting in that kind of muddled crap much longer than you'd want to. So I think for me, if everybody, I will say this, everybody is intuitive. Everybody has that intuitive voice. Everybody is psychic. Everybody has some of those clairs within them, and they can all be accessed. I know early on I would read, how to be psychic in 7 steps, and it was like, that's not going to get you there. What's going to get you there is truly just allowing yourself to listen, allowing yourself to tap in, allowing yourself to trust what you're hearing, because that is all of you. That is your mind, body, and soul, all of you speaking to you. And if you can't trust it, then you can't trust anything else. So it really has to come from that place. And so I've really, even today, I thought about, I wanted to show up and share some guidance and talk about my journey and give women, some inspiration, some hope, to see a normal human being. Like, I don't even have makeup on today, but just to see a normal human being show up and say that I did this and I'm succeeding in the best way that I can, and I'm loving it and enjoying it, and I don't force anything. So even showing up today, I thought, Spirit, we're going to talk about this, but what else should we talk about? And they kept saying, this is really important. It's really important to share your experiences from a real point of view, your experiences from an unfiltered view. And it's taken me a little while, and I'm not one for numbers, but as I look at the community, my online community that I've been able to grow, I can say, like, wow, I have a lot of engaged people that show up. The group that I have, we're about 250. My Instagram, whatever, it just blew up just before this year started. So I was kind of shocked about that too. And I have more people approaching me asking for guidance and support and help. And it's a very surreal place to be in, but it's also one of those places where I have to give myself permission to celebrate that and to say, I've worked really hard, I've trusted, and I want to be able to offer that guidance and to let people know that you just have to trust. And it might start from, I say it started like I had hope. I had hope things were going to get better. I had hoped that I could shift. I hoped that I could change, my path from being where I was and feeling so sick and so miserable to this space where, I love showing up every day. I love that I get to work from home and see my daughter and be here when my partner gets home. And I love that I can say to people, sorry, I can't work with you today. I've got other priorities. And it's not always easy. There are, compromises, but at the end of the day, I would never go back into my corporate office job ever for no amount of money. And I even had that opportunity kind of planted to me last year in November. And the thought of it, the minute I went to reach my hand out to kind of say, okay, let's see if I want to go back there, everything shut down. Everything. And it was so clear. It was so clear that, okay, nope, I just have to have faith. Because my hope was no longer hope. I could see what I could do. I could see what I could create. And so now I sit in a place of faith and trust. I'm sure you attract a lot with your beautiful energy. Of course. I mean, look at you. I've attracted you. You're a beautiful soul. Your sisters, so many people. You know, I'm more blown away by the people that show up than myself most days. I'm more blown away by people's abilities, and a lot of what I do now is trying to help others and show them how to turn their shine on and turn their light on, because and sometimes I can be a bit pushy maybe about that, because I'm like, get out there, do it, put your face on there, go live, do a video, because it's just I get so super excited about it. But yeah, I'm really blown away by a lot of other people. They inspire me. And I think that's the other key too, is knowing when to release and let go of things that aren't serving you. That is a big, big, big one. So talking about self-care, you're going to need that every step of the way, because it's not easy all the time. You know, starting a business, being an entrepreneur, or even changing your life, because people know you as Delia, who was in this job, sitting in this office, mover shakers, client dinners, you know, like traveling. People knew me as this person, but deep down it was like, no, that's not really, that doesn't feel good in my soul. So when you shift and change, people are going to kind of look at you like, hey, you're different. And they're not sure. And you'll see people move away and step away, and you'll see people like completely reject it. And that's why you need like a self-care routine or a regimen or something that's going to give you that hug, that love, that gentle touch when you need it most, when stuff like this happens. So for me, it's just, I decided early on that I needed to give myself space. I know you ladies that are here have children, and I have a child, and it's really hard to take that space because mommy guilt is real. We often don't trust our significant others to handle the home, but you have to trust. I was a big, my partner had no clue. None whatsoever. Guys, like I was so terrified the first time I left him with my daughter, that I was like, she's not going to be fed. I'll probably come home and her diaper will be loaded. But I had to step away, and I had to say, you know what? He loves that child with so much of his like essence. He would never hurt her. So if I come home and the diaper's loaded, so what? We wash her up, put a little diaper cream, we're good to go. But knowing, just saying, easing my mind, going, he's not going to kill her, allowed me to step back and allowed me to take the time that I needed. And really just, that was that boundary I needed to set very early on, was that no, I need to do this for me. I need my time. I need to do things that I love. I need to sit in a group of women that are going to light me up, and I need to, you know, do it when I feel I need it, and step away, you know, on a Friday night when he thinks, oh, we should be doing date night. And I'm like, sorry, this is important to me. I need to do this. And so setting those boundaries and keeping those boundaries and keeping that routine, that regimen alive, is so important, because as you start to grow and as you start to focus, I mean, my business went from, you know, little teeny to now I feel like there is definitely more responsibility and more that I'm taking on, because I'm growing and because I'm able to handle it. So part of my boundaries and my self-care also has to grow with everything else. And again, knowing when to step back. You have to step back from these responsibilities from time to time, and you have to say, I'm sorry, I can't do this. and being able to, still show up and still have presence, but also being able to step back and giving yourself that time and that care. So that is also a big, huge part of my journey. I don't always do it well, but I know my body will tell me when it's time to, shut it down. My body will tell me that, and that's when I listen. So again, I think, if I were to think about some of the key elements with my journey and how I evolved and just trusted was listening to myself. It's great to have another person validate these messages, and I think anytime I've ever had someone do a reading for me or just an intuitive message, it's because I know that they're going to help validate and help just clarify I'm on the right track. But by no means have I ever sat down with someone and said, okay, whatever they're going to tell me is exactly what I'm going to do, and they have to tell me what my next step is, and that's what it's going to be, because you're essentially giving your power away. You're giving yourself, your power away to someone else. So it's great to have someone say, hey, I'm getting this message from Spirit. This is what I'm feeling. The cards are saying this is probably your next step. Take it and just integrate that and really understand, is my body saying yes? Are my guides saying yes? Are they saying no? And just really doing it from your own place. Because I'll tell you, we don't always get it right. I will do readings for people and say, I give them that caveat too, is like, this is what I am intuiting, this is what's coming forward, this is what the cards are saying. But by no means should you take this as law. You need to intuit this for yourself. You need to see if this makes sense for you. And I had a girl come back once and say, none of that sat well with me. And that's probably the worst thing as an intuitive psychic. That's probably the worst thing you'd ever want to hear. But instead of bashing myself, instead of saying, oh my God, you suck, you're losing it, I turned around and was like, I see what you guys did here. You wanted her to trust herself. And so you sent her a message through me to make her question, to make her, maybe feel less sure. And so I came back to her and I said, I'm really glad you told me this. I'm really glad you were honest, because this is just a perfect example of Spirit testing, kind of sending you a message of saying, do you really want to do this? And if you already have leaned into your body's wisdom, why are you seeking information elsewhere? This is where you should be trusting. So it's a really great learning experience for not just her, but for myself too. So I kind of love when stuff like that happens as well. So let me see here. It's hard to read for people who aren't willing to acknowledge the things within themselves. They aren't ready to hear what you have to say. If it's not what they want to hear. Yeah, it's very true too. And there could have been some stuff in there too that maybe she just did not want to hear, which is also likely. And that's okay. For me, I had one reading where it was rough. Like, I left going, wow, I just paid this girl $100 to tongue lash me. Like, literally tongue lash me. And I thought, what the? I'm like, I am very evolved in my spiritual awareness and knowing. Had I been someone who had never really stepped into my spirituality or understanding how spirit or energy or any of this stuff works, had I gone into that reading, I would have left bawling. I would have left saying, I never want to speak to this woman again. Like, mad, all this stuff. But I walked away going, okay, yeah, that wasn't pleasant. That wasn't what I was wanting to come in and hear. Do you hear that? It wasn't what I wanted to hear. But going back to it now, it was the information that I had to hear. It, like, I had to be reprimanded, basically, to be able to heal, to step out of the mindset that I was, to come at my healing in a different perspective, to offer forgiveness to some of the people in my life that I was harboring anger towards. But yeah, so sometimes it very much is, I don't want to hear that. But, thankfully I was evolved more in my spirituality and my emotions, that I could take it. I wasn't happy about it, but I could take it and then allow it to kind of, do its work. But there are a lot of people, and that's one of the reasons for me, I knew my healing work wasn't going to happen through readings. My healing work was going to happen through circles, through retreats, doing more one-on-one mentorship and guidance, because in a reading, people don't want to hear what they're doing wrong. People don't want to hear the bad stuff. They want to hear the good stuff. They want to be told, hey, if you do this, life is going to look amazing for you. And it's not always like that. So it's one of the reasons why I realized that I am a healer through and through. I definitely want to help people in their darkest moments coming into the light and realizing their true potential. And I wasn't going to be able to do that with cards. So that's how my journey shifted. And, I'm more focused on circles and gatherings. I'm more focused on, even women. It was a big shock to me when we started doing our retreats. I thought, why aren't we including the men? Well, it just so turns out that, hey, women have a lot of healing to do. And I was healing the parts of my femininity, and I didn't even understand parts of my own feminine healing. How can I even step into the masculine and understand their healing? So it became very clear that I had some imbalances. I needed to step more into my feminine energy. And as I stepped into that and healed that, I was able to now offer that guidance to other women and understand it. So sitting in that circle, hearing a woman talk about what she's been through, and, understanding that pain, understanding that, and also knowing too what it feels to heal it. So that was a big realization for me, that, I was being guided to working with women because this is what we needed. So a lot of things have happened on my journey that have, been, see, this is the baby brain. I'm losing all my words. Has been deliberate. There it is. So there's been a lot of things that have been deliberate, and there have been a lot of things that have just kind of showed up because Spirit was pushing me in the direction, and they were just kind of saying, hey, do this and see what happens. And I just trusted and did, and sure enough, another door opened, or another opportunity came forward, or I met someone who expanded my awareness and knowing of a particular area even more so. So it's been really beautiful, and I've learned not to control it. I've learned not to control it and to just trust. And so far, I haven't been let down. And I posted something. I'm just gonna say this, and then I'll do some cards. I posted something, I think earlier this year, about a story that I read, and it comes from the Bible. And I was born Catholic and all that jazz, but I was never really fully religious. I'm kind of like spirituality. I believe in a higher power and an afterlife, and I would have loved to have met Jesus. He's probably not probably, he is the master healer. Anyways, so the story was, I have to remember the name. I think it was Peter. Peter wanted to learn to walk on water. And so, hi, Kathy. It's actually Delia today. Karena is featuring. I'll recap for those that are new joining us. Karena is starting a Featured Fem Fridays, and I am her first Featured Fem. Hello. So she's allowing women to show up and talk about their journey or their experiences, and giving us some space on her page to share what we do, share our gifts. And that's such a lovely, such a grateful thing for her to do. And that is just an example of the people that I attract, because that's what I'm about, is sharing and caring and taking our spaces and promoting other people. And Karena's doing that. And I just met her not long ago. And she's amazing. And so the more I kind of let that in, I attract it back. So you can see no icky people in the circle, just amazing people. But yeah, so I had gone through a really rough end of 2018. It was rougher than I thought it was ever going to be. And it tested every ounce of my faith and my beliefs. And out of the 3.5, maybe 4 years that I've been on this path, it was the first time that I was actually like, wow, everything I've been doing is a sham. I kind of got close to that place. And then I snapped out of it and said, no, that's not right. That's just, the crazy left brain speaking. Come back. And I came back, and the universe swooped in and said, welcome back. Here you go. They started giving me that cushion, that security, that comfort, that blanket that I needed. And then I read this little piece which talked about Peter wanting to learn to walk on water. And Jesus led him out onto the water, and he started to sink. And Jesus was like scolding him about losing faith and not having faith. And then I read this line where it was like, anytime Peter started to sink, before he got scolded or told about why he was sinking, a hand reached out to rescue him, to help him, to pull him back up before he fully sank and drowned. And I thought, okay, I have to trust and have faith that when I feel like I've stepped out onto that water and I start to feel myself sinking, not to lose faith, because that hand is coming. The universe is going to deliver. It might not feel great in that moment, but I'm never going to drown. They're never going to let me fully submerge. There's always going to be something that will come forward that I need to help me to get back up on that water. And I will walk on water. So it was that huge epiphany, that moment where I was like, okay, this is a big, clear message, never to lose my faith. They have never let me down in the past. They're not going to let me down now. And sure enough, they haven't. So if you ever, little mini me, if you're ever in a place where you're losing faith, or you're feeling like, things aren't going your way, you're starting to sink, the foundation isn't as great, then you have to know, you have to trust that the universe is going to step out and give you a hand. Okay, my darling. Go play with the kitties. So what I'd like to do before I close things off, if there's anybody that has any questions, or again, if you're going through something, experiencing something, you want to talk about it, now's your time. If not, what I'd love to do is I have my oracle cards. My oracle cards are great for, again, spirit messages. I feel like spirit communicates with us through a series of signs and messages. One of the ways that I love to get my messages is through cards. And so I have they're called the Gateway Oracle cards by Denise Lynn. And I really love these. So if you're looking for a message today, let me know and I will pull. Okay. Please go over there, please. Okay. So if you're looking for guidance or you'd like a message today, let me know and I'll pull a card. Okay. April. So the intention as I'm doing this on my side is really that, this is a message for you. That Spirit's going to bring forward the card that is meant for you. Ooh. And I get quiet because that's me listening. So I'm just listening because they're just saying there's one more card for you, April. So this one flipped up, but there's one more card for you. It's this one. Okay. So the two cards that have come forward for you, the first one is looking deeper. Deep within me is a majestic radiance. Hopefully you can see that. So again, with these cards, you're going to know better than me what this means for you. So you can see there's some mountains in the background. It looks like a swirling of gemstones down below, and there's one that is just rising above the others. Let me just get, there's one that's rising above the others. So for me, this is almost like, there's more there. There's so much more there. And to bring that gem up, to bring that forward, it's that, majestic radiance that is sitting deep within you. So you might have all of it kind of swirling, but there's more. There's more to come out. So maybe that's what you're feeling lately, is just kind of, how do I bring that out for myself, or feeling like there could be something more, but you're not sure. I've had those questions come up too, where it's like, I feel like there's something else. There's something more that I meant to see or do or feel. And then by going deeper, it comes out. April, I've been digging deeper into my spirituality. Yeah, there you go. So there's going to be a gem that's just going to rise out of that. The second card that comes out is communicating freely. I communicate from the depths of my being. And hopefully you can see that. And to me, when I see this card, it's, maybe as you're digging deeper, like I said earlier, some things might come forward for you that is going to feel scary to talk about. That might scare other people. And it's not that it's scary to them, it's just they're not used to it, right? There are some people that just aren't used to it. So they might start to step away from you thinking, I'm not so comfortable with this. But what this message is just whatever you uncover on your journey of digging deeper, be able to communicate that freely without hiding it, because that's allowing you to step forward, to step into your knowing, your awakening, what you're remembering. It's like, who is April 13 lives from now? And it's that remembering, it's that coming forward. So don't be afraid to speak about what it is that you uncover, what it is that you bring forward, what comes out of you that is shining. And the people that can't handle it, if they go away, hey, guess what? In my mind, I'm like, well, they're not here to support me. So it's okay. And those that are going to like my light and like what I'm saying, those are the people that I'm going to meet, like the Karenas of the world. There you go. You're welcome. I'm going to get to Ayla, and then I'm going to pull some cards for Kathy. I'm going to do 2 cards for everybody. And there you go, Ayla. How perfect are these? So Ayla, I know because, we're connected. Seeing that picture that you posted of your healing room with your Reiki table, I was just kind of like, oh my God, like this looks amazing. And I feel like this is that card that's validating that you're manifesting your dreams. Like that is it. I don't know if you had that moment where you, or even allow yourself to step into that space and just look at it and say, my dreams are coming true. And what else can I manifest? That's the other question too. It's not about, hey, this is my dreams. It's like, no, this is my dream, and what else? I can have more of that. So I feel as though this is just an acknowledgement, validating where you've been, where you've come, where you are, and allowing yourself to go even further. And that's kind of like this card. Sharing of yourself. I am an incredibly generous being. So true. But again, this is almost like now the start of that journey of, more and more people need your medicine, your light, your sharing. So don't be afraid. When I see this card, it's kind of that, again, that quirky uniqueness. Like it's a girl in a ballerina outfit riding a zebra. And most people would be like, oh my God, that is the most craziest, absurd thing ever. But this is who you are. You've got this unique beauty and gift, and don't be afraid to share it. So there you go. She's been sharing so much of herself. Yeah. And all the more reason to, and not to say stop sharing yourself, because when you're a healer and when okay, April, bye. When you're a healer and when you're sharing yourself, you also have to take that extra special care to give yourself some energy back, to give yourself self-love. So I'm going to get to Kathy. Oh, cards flipped right out for you, Kathy. I'm going to see if there's another one that wants to come forward. You're welcome, Ayla. Okay, Kathy. This one too wants to come out. Okay, so the first card that came forward flipped right out for you, Kathy, which for me is almost like this is a very firm message, is standing firm. I am noble, brave, and strong. So I feel as though there's two things that are coming forward for me right now. Red is telling me that there's something that you're really passionate about, or something that's happening in a discussion with you and someone else. But I feel like it's just saying to you, no, you have to stand firm in your beliefs, in what it is that you're fighting for, what it is you're passionate about, and just understand that you have the courage and the bravery to stand tall in this. So to me, it kind of feels like there's something passionate happening around you. Hi, Karena. I'm so happy to be live here on your page and sharing. So I've been rambling for a good hour or so. Now I'm just doing some cards for everybody. But I do welcome anyone, who is watching live or even on the replay. If you have questions, I'm happy to jump in and answer them. So Kathy, if you're still with me, your second card that came forward is being in the flow. I am in the flow of the universe. So we want to take this message in context with your standing firm. So what is it that you're standing firm about? Because whatever it is you're doing here, when you allow yourself to really step into that place and claim your power, you are essentially allowing yourself to return into the flow of the universe. The universe is going to hand us these difficult situations because they're trying to get us to step into a path, a certain flow, a certain belief and faith, and to realize. So when you do that, you're going to step into this flow. And when you're in that flow, that's when the kind of the magic happens. Everything feels really great. It feels like it's working in your favor. So you really want to get to that place. And the universe is saying you're going to get there by standing firm. So those are your messages. Karena, do you want some cards? I don't know if there's anybody else that is here that would like some card messages. I'm going to offer one more, and then I think mommy duties might be kicking in much earlier. Watch out, please. I've got... Okay.
Mommy, I want to pick a card.
In a minute. I don't know if you're still there, Karena. A little angel. Do you want this, angel? Are you an angel?
Yeah.
No? What are you?
I'm a Kaya.
You're a Kaya. Gotta love kids and their honesty. Okay. Karena says sure. I will pull a card for Karena. Don't do that with your ears, honey. She's home. She's had ear infections. And she's putting her fingers in her ear. Okay. Okay. That was your card. Okay, so one for you, and I'm going to... You're welcome, Kathy. Keep going. Keep working forward. Okay. Interesting. Okay, Karena. 2 cards for you. First one is healing the past. I step into my future with strength and clarity. For me, what I'm really focusing on in this card is the root system. And it's almost like you have this old growth of root system, which is really great. It's a great foundation. It's kind of, some of the foundation that you needed to get here. But the healing aspect is like saying, okay, I'm going to heal this, and I'm going to set down some new roots. And that's the healing piece of it. So it's allowing yourself to kind of step away from some of the older and starting your new roots. Okay, you look at them yourself. The other card that came forward is letting go. I surrender joyously to the ebbing and flowing of life. So I kind of feel like, when we start to heal and when we start to create those new roots, we're also allowing ourselves to let go a little bit. So you might start to feel that happen organically, but I also feel as though,
Mom.
Yes, honey. Okay, you have to look at them on your own. I also feel that, I'm just trying to see here because there was another message that was coming forward for you. It might come back to me, and I'll give that to you. But I do feel like, in context with the other card, that as you start to heal and plant those new roots and that new growth starts to happen, more of this letting go is going to happen for you as well, and just allowing you to kind of naturally go with it. It'll feel more natural. You won't be holding onto it so tightly. See, healing and boundaries are part of your journey this year. So that's Spirit's way of validating for you. That's a message. When that happens, it's like you're on the right path. Keep doing that. Trust it. Go with it. They're proud of you. Really, really take those messages in. And it's great that aligns. So thank you so much. I'm going to share a new offering that I've just put out there. Control is hard for me. Part of my healing has been learning to honor what falls away, so what needs to come can. Yes, that's something that's going to happen always. That never goes away. That the control piece for me, I have to work with that a couple times a year because I love to kind of control and be the director of my path, and for the most part I am, but spirit always has different plans, and in those cases I have to learn to let it be, and you get better at it. But it is something that you will face all the time. So I will definitely share a new offering that I have put out just recently, as Karena knows. It's called Time to Rise. And so I find that it's a lot about what I talked about today. Really, if you're starting on your journey, knowing how to navigate, knowing how to be aware. There's some key steps that became really clear for me that, hey, once I started doing these things, that's when the get going happened. That's when I really felt my path open up, and that's when I started feeling more focused, more grounded, more confident in this space. And it's also an opportunity for anyone who is starting a new business or wanting to get into this space, and I can offer some guidance on how to kind of left brain finagle that a little bit, because we've got the right brain tuned in really well, but sometimes just setting ourselves up to be able to support our work in a digital space, from a communication space, understanding some of that marketing stuff, is where we don't always know how to connect the two. So I'm also going to be offering some support there. So yeah, I'm just going to say thank you, Karena, so much for allowing me to take up some space today on your page and to talk about my journey. I hope people find this valuable. And I look forward to seeing the other ladies coming up. So thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.